Good evening and welcome to March's live chat with the local Crohn's and Colitis UK network panel. So tonight we're very excited. It's a little bit of a specialist chat, all things stoma. So get in touch if you've got one, know someone who has, have questions about what it is, what it could be. Potentially you've had some discussions and got some questions about kind of life with a stoma. So just to kind of introduce the panel, lovely to see you all again. My name's China and I'm a member of the local network. Another member of the local network, Lindsay.
Hi, I'm Lindsay. I joined just before Christmas and look forward to seeing you all at quite a few of our upcoming events.
Go.
Hi there, I'm Anne-Marie. I'm one of the Salts Medilink stoma nurses. I moved to Plymouth a couple of years ago, so I've been working in this local area with Dawn. I've been a stoma care nurse for over 20 years and I used to work in the NHS in Portsmouth.
Hi, my name's Dawn Chadwick. I'm a community stoma care nurse with Anne-Marie and we work for Salts Medilink in the community. I did used to work at Darraford at Plymouth for 21 years as a stoma care sister, but now I'm working in the community.
Fab. So do drop any questions down below in the live chat. Keep them coming in. Equally, you can private message the page if you'd like to submit any questions anonymously. We have got a few questions in already. Should we start with some of those?
Yeah. First one is, I've been told I may need to have an ileostomy and feel very nervous about it. Do you have any advice?
Okay.
My advice really would be that you're under a consultant at your local hospital and you should have a specialist stoma care team at the hospital that you can make an appointment to go and see. They will give you time and booklets and information, and sometimes they have a list of patients that have had stomas that they can give you their contact number and you can talk to one another over the phone. You don't have to meet, but sometimes it's nice to speak to a patient and a professional before you go for your surgery. I don't know what you think, Anne-Marie.
Yeah, I completely agree. You need to speak to somebody. You know, it's natural to be fearful of having something so different that you don't know anything about. So as Dawn says, speak to your local stoma care nurse at the hospital and hopefully meet one of the team as well from NACS or from one of the associations. That the nurses at the hospital will let you know who the local contacts are, and you'll have a friendly voice to chat with.
Absolutely. I think from kind of, I suppose, a patient's perspective, I know that speaking with some people locally who had had you know, the surgery previously, that was really, really valuable for me.
Yeah.
Especially I think having a kind of an IBD nurse who knew me kind of for a number of years.
Yeah.
They kind of,
familiar face.
Yeah, they kind of knew who would be the best person to put me in touch with. So actually, you know, I needed someone who was going to be quite frank with me, and that was exactly what I had. And you know, I'd be honest with you, I'm quite a very, you know, I think I've got a life friend actually in that person still. So that was, I'm really, really grateful that was offered to speak to kind of another patient. I don't know if you had a similar.
I did, and I mean our IBD team at Darraford are above and beyond, but I did find it more helpful to myself speaking to other people that had the same surgery, been through the same process, knowing that things get better, because it's not an easy operation to go through, and there are times when you think, not sure I can do this, I wish I'd never done it.
And I think also you have to realise that everybody's journey is different. Okay, you all end up with a stoma, but every individual person has, you know, different medical needs, and your journey will be tailor-made for you. So although you can talk to other people, it's not all going to be exactly the same, but it is helpful.
It gives you an idea.
I think, sorry, Anne-Marie.
No, I was just saying it gives you an idea of how it is, and it's so good, like you just said, about meeting somebody that's further on in the journey, that you know you did come out the other side and life does get back. There is hope there, and you can get back to the things that you were doing previously.
I think medically you definitely need to stay speaking to the team and the nurses and your doctors, but I think there are things that happen that the doctors and nurses, because they're not actually having it themselves, they don't deal with it. So I think that's the side that is easier to get off somebody that's been through it. But definitely for medical advice, stay with your nurses. So.
No, I think that's really good advice. I think for me it was actually some of the kind of down times and the low points, just someone being honest. So I kind of knew that, yes, it was going to be pretty pants at times, but I kind of knew what to expect a little bit. So, you know, it was just that, I suppose, reassurance that you're not alone and this isn't only happening to you, because there is some pretty low points. But as you say, the hope of coming out the other side is definitely a positive one, that's for sure. But and of course, I suppose we should mention that Lindsay and I are members of the local network with stomas. So, you know, as kind of a local face or familiar face and a local voice, you know, don't ever hesitate to message the page, and myself and Lindsay would be more than happy to kind of be that friendly face for you, you know, if you do ever need just someone to have a chat to, or at least put you in touch with someone who may be in a similar situation. Perfect.
Got another question? How do you know if you have a blockage?
Holy Grail.
Well, I think really it's pretty obvious to yourself that your stoma has probably stopped working, you're starting to feel quite nauseous, you may have stomach pains, and I think once those stomach pains start, you normally know instantly that you need to get some advice. And I would suggest that you phone your GP immediately and ask for an appointment, an urgent appointment to get examined. And, you know, obviously some people do ring us, and normally we advise them to go straight to their GP, or if it's that bad, to take themselves to A&E. You know, I don't think you should sit on something. If you think your stoma has stopped working, you're in pain, your tummy's quite tender, then you need medical advice.
Same day advice.
Yes.
You don't wait for it.
Yeah.
In your experience, what's kind of the common causes, would you say, of blockages? What do you see? What are the, you know, reoccurring?
Sometimes it can be caused by a strangulation of a hernia, which is something really that you can't prevent. Not to say that everybody that's got a hernia, their stoma will block, because that's not the case, but that's a medical reason. It could be that maybe you've eaten something that you're not meant to, and you know, we do give booklets with diet advice, but everybody's diet is different. You know, someone that likes spicy food, we would advise them on certain areas of that. If you're a vegetarian, we give you advice on that, but everybody eats differently.
There's common foods, aren't there, that can cause a blockage. So if you don't chew your food properly, and I guess both of you guys have had moments, have you, where you've had some discomfort where you've eaten something. So food can be a common
mushrooms,
thing. Mushrooms,
sweet corn, celery, nuts, and particularly at Christmas, you know, when eating nuts, everybody's eating nuts and Christmas cake, and you think, well, maybe a handful won't hurt. Yes, they do. That's the easiest thing to say. Yes, they do. And I would avoid them rather than get a blockage and be in pain and then be admitted to hospital and miss all the fun.
I had a gentleman once who ate a whole can of peanuts. You know, you get those big cans at Christmas, and just sat at the telly, ate the peanuts, and ended up in hospital. And like you say, missed all the fun. So, and had to have a drip and be in hospital.
So sometimes it's things you forget.
We're
all human. We're all
absolutely.
human. Accidents happen. You put something in your mouth and you think afterwards, I shouldn't have eaten that. But as I say, we're all human. Just get advice.
We had I had an episode of a gentleman that went out to dinner with his family and had garlic mushrooms as a starter. Little button garlic mushrooms, as you say, chatting away, swallowed a whole mushroom, and then a couple of hours later had a blockage. But it was an accident. It was, you know, they were out. My advice would be, don't have garlic mushrooms as a starter. So you do have to be careful, but there's lots and lots of foods out there that you can enjoy. I really don't think you should narrow your dietary needs, because you can make life awfully boring if you just limit what you eat.
There are ways around certain foods as well. So I know my accident was on holiday and I picked up an apple and just ate it without thinking, and I didn't take the skin off.
Yeah.
It was simple as that. But so just take the skin off the apple, or
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
take the skin off cucumbers, things like that. Just
Yeah.
so you can still enjoy the food, but
Yeah.
Or chew it really, really well.
really well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's different, aren't they?
Yeah,
Because,
they
you know,
are.
apples, I've never, famous last words, you know, had challenges with, you know, skins on apples, or, you know, as an example.
Yeah,
But
and you're
it's
totally
trying to-
right, because
Yeah,
I don't have a
it
problem with
is, yeah.
mushrooms, but I know
No,
it is a
yeah.
food that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, everybody is completely different, but
yeah.
let's say accidents happen.
And often the problem is just a small problem, and it will pass. You get the pain, but it'll
Yeah.
pass without you having to seek medical help. But
Yeah.
if it's like Dawn said and more severe,
Yeah,
then you
yeah.
need to seek medical help.
This may sound really daft, but when I've kind of had a little niggle, even little things like stretching out and, you know, making sure I do try and flush through, really little silly
Yeah.
things that you think, what on earth are you doing? But, you know, the thought for me of having to call the doctor or, you know, take myself into
Yes,
hospital, I think,
hospital.
no, I
Yeah.
will get it out, you know, if it kills me.
Yeah, that's it. I think that comes with experience as
Yes,
well.
it
Though
does.
I mean, I'd say I didn't need to seek medical
Yeah.
assistance, but
No.
I knew what I'd done, and
Yeah.
you know, but it all takes time, and
Did you
Yeah.
drink plenty?
that's
Yeah.
pretty much
Yeah.
what I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just flushed it through
Yeah.
and got, you know, stayed off solids for a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
24
idea.
hours,
Lots
so,
of
yeah.
water,
Yeah.
really. I know people don't like drinking water, but in this case, you know, and sometimes warmish water
Yeah.
helps too, because it helps your muscles relax, and then the food tends to pass through a bit easier.
Mm.
But you know,
Yeah, that's really good. And I think we've always spoke about, haven't we, being quite in tune with our bodies, so
Yes.
listening to your body,
yeah,
you know, in knowing when actually, no, this is like a little bit more serious
yeah, absolutely.
or not. Fab. Okay.
It being the time of year it is, we've had some questions about going on holiday. So if we've got any advice about sorts of things we need to think about when we're on holiday, like making sure you've got enough supplies to go with. What about swimming? And you mentioned a travel wallet before, so
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important that you, at least 2 or 3 weeks before you go on holiday, that you get hold of your stoma care company that you get your supplies from. Explain to them that you're going on holiday for however long. Take at least, say, 2 weeks supply and an extra week on top. So that you can change your bag more than you would normally in England because of the heat, or because you know you're going out more of an evening and you just want to feel comfortable, and then also organise it so that when you get back you've got enough supplies at home to see you through until you put another order in. And normally your stoma care nurse can give you a travel wallet. It's very useful for your GP to sign. It allows you to have extra supplies as hand luggage, and it's written in different languages, so hopefully when you go through baggage, customs control, they won't pull all your bags out for everybody to see. I have to say that depends where you're going and who actually you talk to as you're going through that department, because some people are very sympathetic and others, as you said, pulled everything out in front of everybody, and you know there's not a lot you can do about that, but it's very embarrassing.
It is embarrassing, and it's a shame that it was our country that did that and not the foreign country, who were actually extremely helpful and lovely people. But I think, as you say, it depends who you get. So don't go expecting the worst, because there are nice people out there somewhere.
I was petrified about going through the kind of metal detectors,
Oh, yeah.
because I am that person that will get beeped and have to, you know, have someone, you know, take a closer look and, you know, examine under your armpits and everything. But that being said, I'm quite lucky that no one's ever really made a thing of it. And I don't know if that's just because it really obviously isn't what they're detecting for.
Yeah.
Or
Well, I was
maybe
going to
a bit
say,
of
they can
information
probably
there.
see them, can't they, on the screen?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
And they'll take you to a private room if you needed
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
they wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Another important thing is if you're going to a country where you can't drink the water, that means you can't clean your stoma in that water either. So you've got to make sure that when you're changing your bag abroad, that you buy, say, a litre bottle of water just for cleaning your stoma, okay? Because if there's bacteria in their water, it may affect your stoma or your skin, and it's probably safer to use bottled water.
And also drink your bottled water, and if you're preparing your own salad, that's fine, using the bottled water, but if you're out, try and avoid salads if you think it's sort of a bit dodgy, because again, you can pick up bugs from the salad that hasn't been washed, or if it's been washed in their water, because your system's not used to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ice cubes are another thing, aren't they?
Yes.
Don't have
Because
them.
if they've
Yeah,
used
just don't.
tap water for ice cubes, then that's their water, it's not bottled.
So gin and tonic without ice.
Yeah.
Get more in the glass.
Yeah.
And I suppose another kind of topic on that kind of theme is like swimwear in just summer clothing. In, you know, naturally everything gets a little bit barer, less layers
Yeah.
to hide
Yeah.
behind. I mean, I don't know if you guys have spoken with any patients that found any good tricks, or Lindsay, you know, what's your kind of go-to summer
Yeah, I
wardrobe?
mean, when I first had it, we went kayaking. I think I was telling you earlier, and didn't think about it. Put on my normal swimsuit that I'd always worn, and it didn't go well. It all burst and was lovely and messy. So I looked online and actually invested. You can do either of two ways. I spoke to Dawn about it at the time as well. You can either have a two-piece system, so you can get the belts for proper doing sports, so they can turn sideways and be secure, or you can get the two-piece like tankinis, I think they call them. Which is the route I went down, so that I've got shorts and a top instead, so it's not the pressure on the bag when it's all wet. And the other thing I invested in was I've got a Mickey Mouse cover for going over the bag, so if I am in a small two-piece, which isn't very often, then at least it's something fun as opposed to...
A lot of the shops though nowadays will do ruched swimwear,
Yes.
you know, not for stomach care patients, just for the general public, but they look lovely.
And patterned costumes.
They're gathered up in the middle, for ladies like I that have tummies, but they work really well for patients with stoma bags. So, you know, don't always look for, oh dear, I've got a stoma, I've got to have something special.
No, just
You
go
know,
to the shops.
go to the shops, have a look round, you know, have a play about, and also you can wear little skirts over sarongs.
And for gentlemen, there's higher waisted swimwear you can get, or you can wear a tummy band and then your normal swimwear that you wear. There's lots of ways around it. So ask your stoma care nurse or ask the associations, and they'll be able to help you. But there's lots out there, and you can still go swimming. It needn't stop you.
No, it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. In my head, I had all sorts of problems going on, but none of them happened. I swam with no problem whatsoever and had a great time. So,
It's
brilliant.
one of those things, it's a confidence thing,
It
it's
is.
a self-esteem
It
thing.
is.
yeah, and I mean, it helps having the support networks around you as well, whether it be friends, family, associations like ours, or stoma nurses. But there's plenty of help out there, and you can enjoy a holiday without. And people don't even look, to be honest. They don't bat an eyelid. I think it's all in our own heads, I think, to be honest.
Which is only natural when you have something like that done.
I think last year we kind of put a bit of a shout out to anyone out there who had found fabulous swimwear, females or males out there that kind of hid scars, sores, anything that maybe we were a little bit self-conscious of, that if they wouldn't mind sharing with us. I mean, I suppose still do that this year. We'd really welcome all those kind of beach bods out there rocking and being quite proud of their bodies, regardless of anything that's going on underneath. So still do that this year. If you find anything that you think is great for kind of girls or guys with stomas, or who's a little bit conscious of the tummy, do share that if you wouldn't mind us pushing it out, because I know lots of people out there kind of quite often get in touch worried about kind of what to do in this circumstances. So do share them with us, and we'll share them, and hopefully I'm sure they will sell out really quick if we do that. So yeah, but do get in touch if you find anything that you think is really, really great for our community.
People who get problems with sore skin, what should they try?
I suppose I'll jump straight in there, and I suffered with sore skin during kind of my early days of having a stoma, and it's unbearable. It's kind of an irritation that you can't quite describe, and you think you're going mental. So, you know, I definitely have full sympathy having kind of been through that. And for me, it was, I kind of went on quite a while with it, actually thinking maybe this is just normal, because stoma was new to me, and I thought maybe this is just part of the fun. So I kind of struggled on for a little while before actually speaking with you guys when, you know, leaks started to become a problem, and, you know, I just really, as I say, thought I was sending myself crazy with kind of that burning sensation and the soreness, and then things don't stick. It felt like it was a little bit of a vicious circle.
Yeah, which
And,
it can be like that.
And it really is an irritating itch that you cannot scratch.
Yeah.
You can't
You
get
do,
into
it
it.
drives you insane.
Yeah. So number one, you're not going mental, and number two, for me, it was just reaching out and actually saying, you know, what other options have I got out there?
Main thing is don't leave it. If you're sore or you're leaking, seek help from a stoma care nurse, either at the hospital, in the community, but seek assistance as soon as you can. It could be something as simple as the size of your stoma has changed, so the shape and size, so we can see that immediately, whereas you can't always notice when you're looking down. And that takes a few minutes, and that's it, we can fix it. And there's lots of different products, barriers that stoma nurses can recommend for you. And again, sort that out for you, and it can be fixed within 24 hours. Your skin can be better again.
I think that's right, Anne-Marie. I think, you know, the main thing to take is not to leave it, not to think it's normal, you've got a stoma and you have to bear with it. Get some advice, either from the stoma care nurses at your local hospital or a stoma care nurse in the community, and we can come and see you, or you can come to a clinic, but just don't leave it.
And what can cause it? So presumably you mentioned kind of irritation to products.
So it can be the product,
yeah.
It can be your stoma has changed in shape, so you've got leaks. You might have gained weight,
Leaks, okay.
lost weight.
Okay.
If you're on medication, if you're given antibiotics for something, or your normal medication has changed, then it can change the acidity of your motion, and so it can burn your skin more than it would normally. That's, you have to have the medication, but you know, if you come and see us, then we can give you something to cope with that while you're going through that period of time.
Yeah.
It could be that you've got a hernia as well, so your shape has changed, so your skin stretches, your skin can get sore from that, or your pouch might not be fitting anymore. You might be a pregnant lady where you've changed shape as well, so it's just worth seeking assistance straight away.
You mentioned hernia then. I know we had a question about, you know, what is a hernia? How do I know if I've got one? You know, any kind of insight into the world of hernias?
Yeah, well, basically, they say now that 80% of patients that have a stoma can end up with a hernia. That doesn't mean to say you will, so I don't mean to frighten you all out there.
I look forward to that one.
Yeah, but it just is that you have a sheet of muscle over your abdomen that your stoma, your bowel is brought through, your muscle, your fatty layer, and out and made into a stoma. Now, that exit is left weakened by the bowel coming through. And we do advise, and I know the stoma nurses at the hospital advise, not to do any heavy lifting. You know, if you sneeze or cough, to hold your tummy and support it. And there are support garments out there that you can wear to help you. But if your tummy changes shape and one side is flatter and the other side is sort of cup shape,
Bulging.
then possibly you've got a hernia. But again, give us a call, or give the nurses at the hospital a call, make an appointment, let someone have a look at you, and they'll tell you straight away whether you've got a hernia.
There's nothing to worry about. Like Dawn said, so many people can get a problem, can have a hernia, can't
Absolutely.
they? And you might not even notice you've got a hernia. You may have a hernia and it doesn't bother you. You may have a very small hernia and it does bother you and give you a bit of discomfort. So again, everybody's different when they've got a hernia, but it's just best to seek help and advice on it, really, from a stoma care nurse.
It doesn't mean that you're going to have an operation. normally, as long as your stoma is working and your tummy is nice and soft, you're not getting any severe pain, then you'll just be told to see a stoma nurse and get a support garment. If it is severe and your stoma stops working and you're admitted to hospital, then it would be the consultant's choice to whether he needed to operate or not. But that's
a minority.
A minority, and it very rarely happens. But normally there are ways round looking after a hernia if you do have one.
Mm-hmm.
Last question. It's easy to get into the habit of just using the products the hospital gives you. How do you find out about and try new products?
I think the one thing I found very helpful is when the hospital sign you over, they will send you to a home care service. So in our case, we are with Medilink, Salt's Medilink, which we've got Dawn and Anne-Marie, and you can either speak to them on the phone, or you do run clinics as well, but also you hold meetings and coffee mornings sometimes. And I actually went along to one not so long ago, and I found so many helpful products that I'd never even thought about before. So just basically speak to your provider and see, and they'll be able to talk you through anything, all the supplies they've got. You can try different bags till you find one you're suitable. Same with the rings, because I know my first set of rings had got aloe vera in, and I wondered why I was coming up in a rash everywhere, and it was just the rings. So, which I'd always used aloe vera on my skin and never had a problem, but because I think it's trapped underneath, isn't it? But I think speaking to providers is the way forward.
Everybody's skin is different. Everybody's requirements are different. So, there are thousands of products out there. If it's working for you, there's no need to seek anything else. But if it's not working for you, there are plenty of choice.
What I would probably advise you not to do is sometimes when you get a magazine and it's got lots and lots of different samples in it, and you think, well, I'll try all of these, your skin can react to one of them, but if you've tried 4 or 5 different products all in the same time, you have no idea what it is that your skin's reacted to, and then you've got to try and get your skin healed, and you've made yourself sore and uncomfortable for no reason. So I would say yes, try loads of different things, but under the advice and guidance of a stoma care nurse, so that we can keep a record of what you've tried, and then if something does react, as you did with the aloe vera rings, we can put that on your records, and now nobody will let you have anything with aloe vera, because although that is a healing thing normally, aloe vera, some people still react to it, so don't take it for granted just because it's healthy or organic.
Again, that was just the ones that I'd come from the hospital with, so I knew no different at all. I just got that, but same as you guys. But as Anne-Marie said, I'm still using the bags that I came from hospital with, because I've never had a problem. So I've stuck with them, because I think, well, if it's not broke, don't fix. So I think it's, if you're having a problem with something, then it's brilliant to be able to try the different products. But if you're not having a problem, then
but if you've seen something new and you think it's a good idea, speak to your stoma care nurse, and we can advise you whether it's worth trying or not.
I think one thing for me was I was kind of a little bit baffled by all the terminology. There was, I want to say, flanges, whatever that is, all these different things.
Language, isn't it?
Maybe, if anyone else out there is confused about all that kind of lingo, let us know. Maybe we can do a little bit of a haul of what some things are in all the terms, because
a word cloud.
Exactly.
There's still things I see people write and think I have no idea what that is.
So I definitely think knowledge is definitely power in that sense. So let us know, because maybe that would be helpful, and we can put out a little bit of a glossary or something. So do let us know if anyone's got any questions in that area. So just a few little bits to kind of wrap us up this evening. in terms of events and things that we've got coming up. Of course, we've got the big, the fabulous Walk It coming to Plymouth again, which is really exciting. We're really chuffed to be listed as one of the locations again this year. Please, please, please get involved and come and support us. It starts on the Plymouth Hoe on the 5th of May. We've been posting lots on the Facebook page, a link of where you can sign up to get involved, come walk along, or even marshal if you don't fancy walking the 10k or the 5k routes. But we would absolutely love your support. It's a big event that's run nationally, so the head office team put it on, so it would be really, really great to kind of show the Plymouth support in full force. So please come and support us at Walk It and get signing up. We do apologise for the cancellation of last week's pub quiz, but we didn't want to bring everyone out in the snow. We are trying to reschedule it, so keep an eye on social media and we will let you know the rescheduled date really, really soon. So just keep your eyes peeled for that one. And finally, a massive, massive thank you to Dawn and Anne-Marie for joining us tonight.
Thank you for
You're
having
very
us.
welcome.
No. So thanks to everyone who's tuned in. You know, if you have any questions when you're watching this back, the recorded version, still drop us a message and we'll be sure to get back to you. Hopefully, we may be seeing Dawn and Anne-Marie and the panel in the future if we haven't scared them off.
No, not at
We'll
all.
be back.
But thank you ever so much, and we will be back in April, May is our next live chat, so keep your eyes on the page for the dates and all the details on that. Lovely.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.